I don't remember that actually.
Oh man, I think you used to be nicer.
I
Maybe
used to be nicer.
it's possible you used to be nicer.
Maybe a little. I don't know.
All right, welcome, folks. I wouldn't call it a practical shooting after dark. This is something different, right, Matt?
Yes, I'd say this is an
Well,
offshoot of PSAD, right?
yeah, we'll call this debunking conspiracy theories. Well, Matt, I've heard that there's some group that's staging a coup d'etat, a hostile takeover of
I
USPSA.
have been informed that there is a certain group of people that think that that is actually happening right now.
And you like right now, what we're doing is saying that that's true, right?
I would say maybe this is called confirmation.
Shots fired. All right, Matt. So what's going on? Explain.
So we got elections coming up here for Area 3, so I'm running for Area 3 director. There
Yes.
was an incident at Low Cap Nationals
Okay.
that
Yeah.
that some some talk of that was staged.
Well, that
That
wasn't
that
staged.
theory has been put out there. That's all I can say.
God, these people. They believe
I
anything.
wish we would have thought of this. Like it would have been too good not to think of
I
this.
think it was more a matter of like you just. It's more like waiting for it to happen rather than
Yeah, at
like
certain
making it
point, like
happen.
it will happen again in the future if nothing happens, right?
Yeah.
Just
But
a
we
matter of
sure
time.
are. Like, but yes, if we're going to talk about USPSA today, that's for sure. And you've got people. I'm hearing that you've got people in pretty much every area that want to run.
I have been contacted by people in every single area that want to run for the board of directors. Yes.
Yes, the people that are amenable to things changing. And
Yes,
I'd
people
say
that
those
are
people are going to
not
run, and
happy.
you're going to run for the presidency at the earliest opportunity, right?
Yeah, whether that be later this year or in the summer of 23.
Yeah. So it does seem like, yeah, it does seem like you're making moves, Matt.
There are some
But
moves happening, yeah.
some moves are happening. Now let's talk about why you're doing this.
Well, it's
Well,
overall displeasure with the current administration, right?
well,
And
yeah.
decisions that have been made, right?
Well, the pattern that I've noticed as long as I've been shooting is something happens, and then people get kind of upset for a while, and
Yeah.
then they just kind of go back to sleep. I don't really see that this time. I'm seeing that there you have a lot of support to actually go and make changes.
Yeah. I think this is probably the most like outwardly facing criticism of USPSA at this point that I've seen while I've been in the sport.
Yes, yes, no, they don't listen, and they haven't for the last 5 years. So we're going to talk about some of the stuff, I
Yep.
suppose. Let's start with the way cheating stuff's gotten handled over the last few years. I think that galvanizes a lot of people. That pisses some people off.
Yeah, 100%. Not, I would say not the best way it's been handled from
All
my
right,
aspect, what I've
so let's
seen.
take like the Tony Cowden situation. For
That's an
those that
easy one to,
remember,
yeah,
that's an easy one.
yeah,
What we have is as much evidence as we're ever going to have that somebody's flagrantly cheating,
right,
right? You have that, then you have somebody flagrantly cheating all over the place, and
right.
then somehow nothing. We didn't have the juice to make anything happen, I guess is a way of putting it.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
Yeah, for whatever happened, like we couldn't
Whatever
get any out.
reasons that
Like
was, right?
yes, we could. Like the board didn't want to do anything for whatever reason, and that still is like I can always get a laugh if I joke about that. Let me put it that
Yeah,
way. If I'm doing
100%.
a class,
Yeah. And I
that
think it
always
was
gets a
the
laugh.
way they handled it, right? Like having all the evidence that's out there, like there's sites that has put out like, oh, how many edits did this person have, right? Or whatever, and all that. And like they talk about it, they show proof, and then like what happens, right?
Nothing happens.
Nothing.
Nothing happens.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that's irritated a lot of people. What about how things have like rule changes sort of have been systematically done over the last 5 years, kind of pushing things a certain direction?
And actually, beyond just rule changes, they actually changed bylaws to allow it to happen more
Right. The
frequently
bylaws
and
got
easier.
changed.
Yes.
Yes. Systematically changed to make
Yes.
it easier to change the rules faster. And
Yes.
then the rules got changed to what seemed like an accelerating rate.
Right. They just put all the like the stepping stones into place till they could jump in the water, right? And change all the rules they wanted.
Yeah, they did do that. What about NROI?
It's interesting, right?
Tell me more,
I
Matt.
mean, there's several things we could talk about on this, right? Like
Yes.
proper calibration has been broken for a while. We've been saying that for a while. It took like
It made more sense in 1985, I think we'll say.
yeah, for sure. It doesn't make a lot of sense right now, right? Where everybody's shooting basically like have
Factory
you
ish 9
seen
millimeter.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Factory load nines, basically, yeah, right? Beyond that, like the the blatant like not addressing the issue or even saying that it's an issue or like they've been behind the fact that it's been a non-issue at this point, right? We have rules in place to take care of this. Oh, you shoot the popper, then it falls down during calibration. Shoot, shoot major, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. I do think that's an issue that people want looked at. And I think they
Yeah.
don't like. I think they don't like Troy. I want to be honest with you.
You don't think people like Troy, like the
Generally
general
speaking, yeah, I
membership?
think that would be a pretty.
Okay. Why
Yeah,
would that be?
I don't think they like the way he makes decisions. Let me put it that way, or explains himself. They just
Okay.
they don't like it. They disagree with it. There doesn't seem to be a lot of logic to it sometimes.
So what is your opinion or maybe some suggestions on what we should do or how we do that?
I think NRY should be directly elected. That's just me, though. I think that's a good fix.
Okay, so we have another election for that position, like on a 4-year cycle, also probably, right?
That'd be one way to fix that,
Yeah.
or
So,
put a check on it on some
on
level.
that, like, do you have some stuff to put in place, right? Like they got to be a RM or anything like that, obviously.
I don't know. I think we want a bigger pool than that.
You think so?
Yeah.
But then, so do you see any issue with them being like the head of the rules and NROI without being a range master or anything?
Do I see any issues? Yeah, potentially. Yeah, there's definitely some issues. But letting people pick the person in charge of the rules seems better to me than picking somebody who is already an RM.
Okay, yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
You think you'd have different people like go for that position because the RM status is not required if it wasn't required?
Yeah, you'd just be at least be able to make changes. Yeah, once you require the RM status, it'd be like they run it, but then they have like a deputy range master that they pick who, you know, does all the stuff officially, I guess.
No, it'd be interesting. It'd
Wouldn't
definitely
be
be
too
interesting
too
to see.
dissimilar from hiring a sheriff.
Makes sense.
Uh, Matt, did you happen to catch the interview that the great Brian Conley did with Jake Martins?
I did listen to that, yes.
So if people want to know what we're talking about, what is it? It's called Behind the Lens.
Behind the lens, yeah. Hunter's HD
Hunter's
Gold
HD
Pod.
Gold Guy. I'll put it in the description on this so people can go find it if they want to watch it or listen to it. Um, what does Jake do
Jake's
officially?
director of media and events.
Okay, so you've seen USPSA's social media, and I think it's fair to call that a disaster. But then
What
if you listen,
aspect?
what I'm just saying, if you listen to Brian, like my God, that hour-long interview that he did with Jake, it was amazing. Yeah, Jake looked like such a mediocrity at the end of that. Um, he talked about some of the problems at low cap nationals, which he admitted there was problems, but then he
Right.
blamed people for eating too much food is why they ran out of food. Like the reason they ran out of toilets is people have no self-control and have to go to the bathroom when they're at the range. I mean,
Yes.
it was
Yeah.
amazing. The interview was it was actually pretty funny. I think I laughed the hardest when it was yeah, people like when Jake said, yeah, people like having, 3 or 4 movers, some complicated moving contraption. And I thought about it, and I'm like, yeah, they do like that. But it wasn't at that nationals, you know.
Right.
But people like complicated moving stuff, and he's like, yeah, and then people want the props to work perfectly every time. And I was just thinking, like, yeah, people do want that. And he was explaining
Does make
why
match flow a little better, yeah.
Yeah, he was explaining why they weren't using a whole lot of moving targets. It was the funniest thing I've heard because it was like it's a little bit hard to figure
Well,
it out.
nationals is dumbed down in some aspects, right?
Obviously, yeah. That's what he was explaining.
Yeah, I mean, you have to, I guess, run that many people through and have consistent stages, right? You can't have some like you could, like other matches do this. It's possible to have happen, like Europeans and World Shoot, like they have
Like
complicated mover
other
stuff.
matches around the world, they
Yes.
have moving targets at big
Yeah.
matches.
Yep.
They figure it out. It's amazing. It's a Scooby-Doo mystery why we can't do it, though.
I mean, so bring back social media, like, so like the tax returns are out there, right? Jake's making like $115,000 a year, right?
That's why, I mean, I don't mind if we have lame social media. I don't think that's that bad for USPSA. But
you think that pays
when we're paying 6 figures to get good social media, it's kind of like puts a different spin on it, doesn't it?
It does. That makes that question way more interesting, right?
Yeah. Then you have to be the asshole to be like, wait a second, I don't think we're really getting our money's worth.
Yeah.
The rest of USPSA staff we don't really know about. I mean, they need a meeting with the Bobs, so to speak.
Yeah, I had no idea. Like,
kind of like, what is it that you do? All I know is Gary Nash was handpicked by Foley, so
yeah, he's what, DFO?
I'm sure there won't be lawsuits when the organization changes hands again.
Can only imagine.
Won't be like the last time. It's going to be way nicer this time.
I'm
right,
sure
Matt?
it will be. I'm sure it will be.
Hope you're ready to get sued, buddy, because it's going to happen.
There's one other director of IT, but like the only thing I see him at is nationals. So, and I think he was running the live streaming at the past couple like low cap and world speed shoot. So, I don't really have anything to say about that.
So what other new stuff do we need? Like new rules that you want to put in place? You want term limits?
I think term limits are a really smart idea. Yeah.
Like passing rule changes by referendum rather than by board votes.
I think that'd be really good too. I think if we don't go that far, like an interim, like we discuss rule changes, we discuss stuff before board meetings, not just brought up at board meetings. Like, hey, like board, I'm thinking about allowing no holster restrictions in production or any of the divisions. What do you guys think about this? What do you guys think of like in October? And then we're going to vote on it and then discuss it in person in February. That makes more sense than, hey, board, here's the agenda at 9 a.m. on Saturday morning. We're going to have a vote at, 10:30 on Sunday morning. Make sure you get all your info and make sure it's all good. Oh, and then we're also going to vote to make the rule effective immediately and just bypass another set of bylaws that are already in there.
Are you hearing this, people? Matt sees the problems right there. So, Matt, let me tell you what I'm going to do. Okay. I'm going to hit stop recording on this, and I'm going to upload this video to my YouTube channel with the title, Matt Hopkins Declares War on the USPSA Establishment. Yeah? A little bit of trolling, I think.
Just this only?
But no, seriously, we're fucking coming for you guys. Just saying.